When my twin sister Amara walked into my psych ward, covered in bruises, something inside me shifted before she even spoke. She wasn't leaving this place today. I was. Her smile cracked before it even formed. The makeup on her cheeks smeared like it was trying to escape her skin instead of hide the bruise beneath it. She stood there, holding a basket of bruised oranges with hands that trembled the way they used to when we were little and thunder hit the roof. "Amara," she whispered, voice thin, breakable. I stepped closer and touched her cheek gently. She jerked back like she'd been struck. That wasn't a reflex. That was fear that had been trained into her. "What happened?" I asked quietly. "I fell," she murmured. I just looked at her. Her breath stuttered, her eyes filled, and her voice cracked open. "He hits me. They all hit me." My pulse slowed, not from shock, from certainty. "Who is they?" I asked. "My husband, his mother, his sister, they all hurt me, Aaliyah." I kept my voice steady. "And Sky?" Her silence tightened the room. "What did they do to her?" I asked again. She swallowed hard. "He slapped her. She cried. He shouted at her, called her useless." Her voice shook. "And when I tried to protect her, he dragged me to the bathroom, slammed my head against the sink. His mother stuffed socks in my mouth so I wouldn't scream." A cold calm settled over me, the kind I hadn't felt since I was 16. 10 years in Crestwood taught me one thing. Some monsters don't deserve cages. They deserve consequences. Amara looked up at me with eyes swollen from holding too many secrets. "I don't know what to do." I did. "We're switching," I said. "What?" "You stay here, you rest, you heal, and I go out there as you." She shook her head. "No, you haven't been outside. You won't know how to handle." "I don't need to blend in. I need to end this." "But you'll lose control." "I'm the only one who should lose control, especially for you." Her eyes widened, not in fear of me, but in recognition of the part of me she had always tried to protect the world from. "Aaliyah, they're monsters. So am I when it comes to you." Her breath caught. "What if you don't come back?" "I will. I'm not going out there to die. I'm going out there to bring you back home." We stood in front of the tiny metal mirror bolted to the wall. Two identical faces stared back, hers bruised and fragile, mine steady and burning with quiet rage. "No one will know," I whispered. "They never look hard enough to see you anyway." Her lips trembled as she nodded. We switched clothes. She slipped into the hospital uniform as if it belonged to her sadness. I wore her faded shirt, warm with her body heat, cold with her fear. The guard unlocked the door. "Mrs. Rakes." He nodded at me. I kept my eyes low like she always did and walked out without a tremor in my step. The sunlight outside stabbed my eyes, sharp and unfamiliar. The world felt too loud, too fast, but none of it mattered. I had a destination, a purpose, a monster waiting. The bus ride was quiet. People stared and then looked away, assuming I was the invisible woman Amara had been forced to become. That was the tragic power of a twin. The world sees the version it expects, not the one standing in front of it. Her neighborhood smelled like mold and grease and something worse. A smell I recognized. Hopelessness. I walked up the cracked pathway to her door. It creaked open with barely a push. Inside, the air felt heavy, like the walls themselves had learned how to hold fear. Dishes piled on the table, trash overflowed, toys lay scattered and broken as if someone enjoyed destroying what Sky loved. Then I spotted her. Sky. My niece. My baby girl. She sat in the corner, hugging a headless doll to her tiny chest. Her knees were pulled up tight as if she was trying to disappear. She looked thinner, smaller, dimmer, like someone had stripped away pieces of her childhood and she didn't know how to get them back. Sky, I whispered, kneeling slowly. Mommy's here. She blinked at me. Her eyes widened. Then, a tiny whimper escaped her lips, and she whispered, "Sorry," before she scooted back, trembling. Her first instinct wasn't to run into her mother's arms. It was to protect herself. Something shattered inside me so silently, I almost didn't hear it. But the rage was loud. "Sky," I whispered, voice breaking. "It's okay. You're safe." But she didn't move. She didn't trust what she was seeing. She had been taught that this face, her mother's face, brought danger. Before I could reach her again, heavy footsteps started echoing from deeper inside the house. Slow, confident, male. He thought he was about to yell at Amara again. He thought she had come home weak, silent, breakable. He had no idea who stood in his house now. The brother's shadow slid across the living room first, long, dark, stretching over the floor like a warning. His boots followed a moment later, each step slow, heavy, controlled. He didn't enter the room. He claimed it. Sky whimpered behind me. I felt her press into the wall, the way a small animal hides from footsteps it recognizes too well. The mother-in-law opened her mouth instantly, eager to spill poison while she still felt powerful. She'd been acting strange. She'd been talking back, walking around like she owns this house. The brother didn't even look at her. One slight turn of his head sent her falling silent, like a puppet's whose strings were cut. His eyes found me, stayed on me. He stepped forward, voice low, steady. "What's wrong with you today?" I didn't answer, didn't blink. The husband rushed to fill the silence, shoving his bottle toward my face like proof of the problem. "She's blocking the kid, saying no to everything, acting like she's somebody." The sister-in-law laughed, sharp, mocking. "Oh, please, this is hilarious. The scared mouse turned into a lion while we weren't looking." She smirked and stepped close, circling me like a hyena who thinks it found a fresh wound. She reached toward my hair, testing me, like she couldn't resist poking the bear. I caught her wrist midair. Not rough, not dramatic, just decisive. Her eyes widened. "Ugh, let go." I released her slowly. The brother saw it. He saw everything. His eyes narrowed, a flicker of realization sparking behind them. The sister-in-law backed up, rubbing her wrist. "Yeah, something's off," she muttered. The mother-in-law scoffed. "She's just being dramatic." The brother stepped closer still. He murmured, ignoring them, "You've never been calm before. Not like this." I didn't move. Behind me, Sky whispered again, soft and broken. "Sorry." The brother heard that too. He studied me like I was a code he was trying to crack. "What changed today?" he asked. His tone wasn't demanding. It was curious, dangerously curious. The husband groaned loudly, fed up. "Man, why are you even talking to her? Just make her listen." He reached past me again toward Sky. I moved without thinking, stepping in front of his hand. "No." He reeled back. "You really doing this again?" The mother-in-law snapped. "Grab that child. She needs discipline." "Shut up." The brother said it softly. Everyone shut up. The brother stepped directly into my space, close enough that I could see the faint scar near his jaw, the tiny twitch of his eyebrow, the controlled breathing of a man who rarely lost his temper because he never needed to. His voice dropped lower. "Look at me." I did. And in that moment, as he studied the stillness in my face, something inside of me shifted. My breath paused. My heartbeat slowed. The noise in my head went silent. The part of me they locked away finally opened its eyes. The brother saw it. His eyes widened. A subtle flash of shock. Just a flicker. Just enough to show he'd noticed the change. Then slowly, delicately, his lips curled. A slow, dangerous smirk. Not joyful, not amused, a predator smirk. A man who just discovered a new type of prey. Or a new rival. He leaned in, closer than anyone should ever be. Close enough that I felt the heat of his breath on my cheek. Close enough that I could see the hunger to understand me. It wasn't lust. It wasn't anger. It was fascination. He murmured, only for me, "You're not her." The words weren't loud, but they hit like a blade sliding quietly between ribs. Sky gasped behind me. Her tiny fingers clutched at my shirt. The husband squinted, confused. "What? What's that supposed to mean?" The sister-in-law laughed, waving him off. "He's just being dramatic." The mother-in-law rolled her eyes. "Boy, stop talking nonsense." But the brother didn't break eye contact with me. Not once. He inhaled slowly, held it, then let it go with a calm that made the room colder. "It's nothing," he said aloud, masking his voice for the others. "She's just having a day." The family relaxed instantly, but he didn't. He stepped even closer, the test beginning. His eyes scanned my face, searching for fear, weakness, hesitation. He found none. His voice dropped again, a private whisper meant only for my ears. "And you aren't scared of me, either." My heartbeat didn't change. My breath didn't change. Inside, the cold deepened. Not fear, not panic, preparation. He tilted his head, part hunter, part examiner, studying me with that same slow smirk. Aaliyah and the brother stood there face to face in a room full of people too blind to see the storm forming between us. He stepped back finally, not because he was done, but because he wanted to wait, to watch, to see how this new version of Amara behaved. Sky's trembling softened as soon as his attention drifted. The mother-in-law muttered something under her breath. The husband wandered toward the couch, grumbling. The sister-in-law scoffed and went back to her phone. But the brother stayed exactly where he was, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, eyes locked on me. That slow smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth, a look that said, I know your secrets. I'm not telling them, but I'm going to enjoy watching you. And just like that, the game began. He wasn't afraid of Ailia's truth. He was entertained by it. And that made him the most dangerous creature in the house. The footsteps grew louder in the hallway, slow and annoyed, like someone stomping at problems they hadn't even seen yet. Sky stiffened beside me, her tiny fingers clutching the broken doll until her knuckles whitened. But it wasn't the husband who appeared first. A sharp voice ripped through the tense air. Is that girl back yet? The sink still looks like a pigsty. The mother-in-law marched into the living room like she was kicking down a door. Her nightgown was wrinkled, her lips pinched, her eyes already full of disappointment she hadn't even explained yet. She stopped when she saw me. Oh, she scoffed. Thought you finally ran off like a coward. House looks just as pathetic as you left it. Her voice was sharp enough to cut paper, and she used it like she wanted to cut me. I stood slowly, my posture calm, my expression steady. I didn't step back. I didn't shrink. I simply looked at her. It made her frown. People like her only understand flinching. Why you staring? She snapped. You forget how to answer simple questions now? I didn't move. Her irritation sharpened. Don't give me that blank face. You live here because we allow it. She expected fear. She expected apology. She didn't get either. Before she could run her mouth again, the front door opened with a loud, casual shove. Heavy footsteps entered the house. Sloppy. Dragging. The sound of someone who didn't respect anything he stepped on. The husband appeared, taking a lazy swig from a bottle. Well, look who decided to show up, he muttered, wiping his mouth with his sleeve. Where you been, huh? Out telling people lies about me again? He didn't wait for an answer. He never waited for anything. He scanned the messy room, then pointed his bottle toward me. You didn't cook? Dishes still dirty? Kids still acting weird? You really don't do shit, do you? Behind me, Sky flinched at his tone. Not even a yell, just his tone. I answered softly, Sky isn't weird. He blinked, thrown off by my voice. She's quiet. You're the one yelling. His lips curled. You talking back now? His mother-in-law scoffed. She's been getting a mouth on her. I told you. He pointed the bottle at my chest. Look at me when I'm speaking. I did, but not the way he expected. He frowned. The hell's wrong with you today? Before I could respond, a new voice floated in, sarcastic, bored, dripping with attitude. Oh my God, are y'all really fighting again? The sister-in-law appeared in the hallway, arms folded, chewing gum like the whole scene was some trashy show she enjoyed. She gave me a once-over, smirked, and clicked her tongue. Look at her, acting all tough. Pest cute. Think you somebody now? She flicked her gum toward a trash pile and missed on purpose. You must have hit your head out there. She glanced at Sky, rolled her eyes dramatically, and the little crybaby is still in the corner? Wow, same old circus. I could feel Sky trembling behind me. That girl had learned to make herself invisible. The husband stepped closer, annoyed now. Move, he ordered. You're blocking the TV. No, I said. His jaw tightened. Say that again? No. His mother-in-law clapped her hands sharply. This girl needs to be put in her place. The sister-in-law smirked, tilting her head. Yeah, someone do it. I want to watch. The husband leaned over me, his breath heavy with alcohol. I'm not going to tell you again. Move your ass. I didn't move. He shifted toward Sky. You, stand up. Stop acting pathetic. Sky whimpered, a tiny, wounded sound. And then, barely audible, she whispered, Sorry? For breathing, for existing, for being a child in this house. My spine went cold. The husband reached a hand toward her, and everything inside me stopped. The room went silent first. Then I did. The part of me they locked away finally opened its eyes. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. And I didn't feel human. He kept talking, unaware his life had just changed. You hear me? Move. I said. He didn't finish. A bang echoed through the room, the front door slamming open so hard the walls rattled. These footsteps were different, measured, heavy, deliberate. Even the mother-in-law went quiet. The air thickened like the house itself was holding its breath. A large shadow appeared in the doorway first, stretching across the living room floor like a warning. Then he stepped in. The brother, broader, quieter, eyes sharp enough to cut through the room. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He looked at each of them. Mother, sister-in-law, husband, and watched their spines straightened, their mouths shut, their bravado drain. Then he looked at me. His stare lingered. He tilted his head slightly. Well, he said, voice low, controlled, dangerous. Look who finally crawled back. Behind me, Sky pressed herself into the wall again, breath shaking. Her tiny voice trembled. Sorry. The husband pointed at me quickly. She's acting crazy. You need to deal with her. The mother-in-law spat. She thinks she can talk back now. The sister-in-law chimed in with a satisfied smirk. Yeah, give her something to cry about. The brother ignored all of them. He took a slow step toward me, eyes cold. You look different today. But you still in my family's house, which means you still obey. I stared right back at him. Inside, the coldness settled. Fully, firmly, permanently. They thought they were breaking Amara. They had no idea who they were speaking to now. The wrong twin was standing in their living room. Sky's hand tightened in mine the moment we stepped toward the hallway. Her little shoulders shook under my fingers. She just wanted to get away from the noise, away from the eyes, away from the danger breathing in every corner of that house. I took one step toward her room, and the brother moved. Not fast, not loud, just there. His entire body shifted to block the hallway, one arm resting casually on the frame like he had all the time in the world. His shadow covered half the corridor behind him. Sky pulled behind me with a soft gasp. The sister-in-law smirked from the living room. Oh, this is about to be good. The mother-in-law peeked out from the kitchen. What's she doing now? The husband snorted without looking up, probably going to cry. Nobody mattered but the man standing in front of me. The brother looked down at Sky, then up at me. His voice barely above a whisper. Where do you think you're going? To her room, I said. She's scared. He tilted his head like a wolf sniffing something new. She should be scared. Sky whimpered again. I moved just enough to block his view of her. He noticed. His eyebrows lifted the smallest bit, that micro shock he didn't want anyone else to see. You're saying no a lot today, he said calmly. That's not like you. Something in his tone made the entire room go quiet. He stepped closer, slow, controlled. He murmured, Try that again. No, I said, even quieter. The family reacted instantly. The mother-in-law gasped. The husband laughed. Ha ha, she lost her mind. The sister-in-law grinned. Oh, she's bold today. But the brother didn't react to them. He reacted to me. He studied my face like he was reading a new language. His eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in calculation. You woke up dangerous today, he said calmly. That's not like you. I woke up aware. His smile came slowly, dark, fascinated. The family had no idea what they were watching. He stepped just a bit closer, his voice a low rumble. Take her, then. The mother-in-law shouted, Why would you let her? He held up one finger. Silence. His eyes never left mine. Go, he said softly. I'll check on you in a minute. Not Sky. You. A cold jolt ran through me. Not fear. Something else. Something ready. I guided Sky past him. He didn't move out of the way. He wanted to feel the space between us when we squeezed past. Wanted to see if I flinched. I didn't. Sky's room was dim and small. The air smelled faintly like damp carpet and old clothes. She climbed onto her bed and curled up like she'd practiced it her whole life. I sat beside her. It's okay. She shook her head. They're mad at me. No, I whispered. They're mad at themselves, and they want someone smaller to blame. She looked up. Are you gonna hit me too? My throat closed. I took her hands gently. No, baby, never. Before her breathing even steadied, I heard the footsteps. Slow, heavy, purposeful. He didn't knock. He walked in like the room was his. Sky curled tighter behind me. Her little fingers dug into my shirt. The brother leaned against the doorway and just watched me for a moment. His eyes scanned Sky, then my posture, then the space between us. He wasn't angry. He wasn't impatient. He was studying. Interesting, he murmured. I stood. He didn't move. He nodded toward Sky. You got her quiet. She's not supposed to be scared. He shrugged one shoulder. Fear keeps people alive. That's not parenting. That's survival. He stepped forward, closing the distance like it was nothing. Close enough to feel the heat from his chest. Close enough that Sky hid behind me again. He leaned in, voice low. You think you know strength? I know abuse. He smirked that slow, dangerous smirk that revealed exactly how he felt about being challenged. No, he whispered. You know violence. Something inside me cooled instantly. Steady, silent breath. He saw it. His eyelid twitched, the first crack in his mask. You're not her, he said quietly, eyes locked on mine. I didn't confirm. I didn't deny. I let the truth hang in the air between us, still and sharp. He stepped even closer, predatory and curious, like he wanted to see if the wrong twin would bite. His breath brushed my cheek when he whispered, and I like that. It wasn't desire. It wasn't admiration. It was fascinating. Sky whimpered behind me again. Her fear made his smile twist deeper. I moved my hand back gently to touch her shoulder, a silent signal that she was safe. His eyes dropped to that gesture, then lifted slowly back to mine. Oh yeah, he said softly. You're definitely not her. He leaned in, speaking low so only I could hear. I'm not telling them. His smirk widened. Not yet. My pulse didn't change. My face didn't move. Inside, something colder settled into place. And why is that? I asked quietly. He stepped back just a slightly, not surrendering space, just adjusting it like a lion finding the perfect angle. Because I want to see, he said, what the wrong twin does. His voice dropped to a whisper that slid over my skin like a blade. And I want front row seats. He pushed off the doorframe and walked out without waiting for a response. Sky clung to me the moment he disappeared around the corner. I didn't move for a long moment. The hallway was still, too still, because he wasn't gone. He was waiting, listening, planning. And now that he knew, he was more dangerous than all of them combined. He didn't expose her. He didn't warn them. He didn't walk away. He chose to watch her. And that meant the real battle hadn't even started yet. Sky didn't stop shaking for a long time. She sat curled against me, her small fingers gripping my shirt like she needed to hold on to something solid in a world that kept slipping beneath her feet. I kept one arm around her, letting her breathe, letting her settle. The room stayed dim, quiet, too quiet. That thick, heavy silence filled the air, the kind that told me someone was standing just outside, waiting, watching. When Sky finally lifted her head, her eyes were red, swollen. "Mummy, can we stay here?" she whispered. Her voice cracked on the last word. I brushed her cheek gently. "Just for now, I need to check something." She grabbed my wrist instantly. "No, don't leave." That sound, not anger, not defiance, just fear, twisted something deep inside me. I leaned down, voice soft but steady. "I'm not going far. I'll be right back." She stared at me, searching my face like she was trying to see the truth inside it. Slowly, reluctantly, she let go. I stood, opened the door, and there he was, the brother, leaning against the wall, still, quiet, waiting like he had been carved from the darkness itself. One boot crossed over the other, his arms folded, his eyes fixed on me with that lazy precision that made everything inside me tense. His lips curved into a slow, knowing smirk. "You done comforting the kid?" he asked softly. His tone wasn't mocking. It wasn't even mean. It was curious. Dangerously curious. I stepped into the hallway and pulled the door halfway closed behind me. "She was scared," I said. He studied my face carefully. "No, she was scared of them, but she looked at you like she finally saw something else." "I protected her," I said. He gave a low, thoughtful hum. "That's not what I meant. She saw you." His meaning hit me like a cold blade sliding between ribs. Saw you. Not the broken twin, not the mask, not the girl they thought they'd broken. She saw the part of me that was awake now. I didn't respond. He stepped forward, slow and steady, until he was close enough that I could catch the faint scent of cigarettes and engine oil clinging to his shirt. "You're talking different, standing different, breathing different," he said. "You woke up with teeth." Inside my chest, something cold clicked into place. Good. He sees me. I didn't have to pretend with him. The silence stretched between us, sharp, electric. He reached out and with slow, deliberate intent, pushed the bedroom door shut behind me. The latch clicked softly. Sky gasped inside. His voice lowered. "Relax. I told you, I'm not here for her." He stepped closer. Closer. The air tightened as he invaded that space just inches from my face. "What do you want?" I whispered. He tilted his head. The movement, predatory. "I want to know what you are." "I'm exactly who I need to be." That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. A slow exhale left him, almost a laugh. "You're playing with me. You're testing me." "I don't test people. I respond to danger." His eyes narrowed, fascinated. "And what am I to you?" "A threat." He leaned in until his forehead nearly brushed mine, but not quite. Close enough to feel the warmth of his breath. Close enough for Sky to sense it through the door and whimper again. And you're not scared, he whispered. No, you should be. Then make me. His breath hitched, the smallest, sharpest intake, excitement disguised as restraint. He stepped around me slowly, circling with the patience of a predator studying a new kind of prey. But I didn't move, didn't flinch. When he came back in front of me, his voice dropped to a low rasp. You're not her. This time, I let one internal truth rise like cold smoke inside me. Finally, he sees me. He tilted his head, waiting for denial. I gave him none. A flicker of shock crossed his face, there and gone in a heartbeat. Then the smirk returned, slow, dangerous. I knew it. I knew something was wrong with your eyes. My pulse didn't shift. Inside, the steadiness only deepened. He leaned in closer, voice brushing the shell of my ear like a blade. I'm not telling them. Not a threat, a choice. Not mercy, interest. Why? I whispered. His voice dipped lower. Because I want to see what the wrong twin does. The air tightened around us, hot and cold at the same time. He drew back just enough to meet my eyes again. Show me. Behind the door, Sky reached for me again, pressing her palm to the wood. I rested my fingers lightly against the door in return. The faintest touch through the barrier. She didn't let go this time. He noticed. His smirk thinned, sharpened. Oh, he murmured, she trusts you now. He leaned closer, voice slow and intent. And trust can be dangerous. I didn't answer. He didn't expect me to. He stepped back, composure sliding back into place, but his eyes never left mine. This isn't over, he said. I held his stare. It's just starting. That earned another low chuckle, dark and pleased. Then he turned and walked away down the hallway, his boots echoing softly, the sound a promise instead of a retreat. Before he rounded the corner, he looked back once, that same slow smirk cutting through the dim light. He wasn't walking away. He was giving me space. Space to move. Space to reveal myself. Space to prove I wasn't the sister they broke. The moment he disappeared, Sky cracked the door open and rushed into my arms. I held her tight. Inside, the cold resolve hardened. We're going to survive this house, I whispered. Her tiny voice shook. How? By becoming the storm they never saw coming. She clung to me tighter. I exhaled, slow, steady, cold. He wasn't gone. He wasn't done. He was waiting for the moment I showed my real hand. And I was done hiding. He wasn't the only danger in that house anymore. Aaliyah wasn't either. The storm was coming. Sky's tiny fingers clung to my shirt like she was holding on to the last safe thing in her world. Her forehead pressed against my chest, warm and damp with tears. Every time she exhaled, her whole body fluttered like something inside her was still bracing for the next hit. I ran my hand down her back slowly, trying to calm the storm rattling inside her. It's okay, I whispered. She shook her head instantly. Her voice came out cracked, tiny, broken at the edges. Is he gonna come back? Yes, I whispered truthfully, but he's not focused on you anymore. She blinked up at me, confused. What do you mean? He's looking at me now. She didn't understand the layers of that sentence, but she understood one thing. He wasn't coming for her. Her breathing steadied just a little, just enough. I brushed her cheek with my thumb. You're safe in here, I promise. Her voice wavered like a leaf in wind. You're not leaving, right? I'll be right outside the door. Her lip trembled, but I can hear them out there. I swallowed. Yeah, I could hear them too. Muttering, footsteps, voices sharpening like knives. I tucked the blanket around her tighter. I'm only stepping out, just to make sure nobody comes in here. Her eyes searched my face, and something in her gaze whispered, You're the only safe person I have. I kissed her forehead gently and stood. Her hand shot out and grabbed mine. Mommy, don't let them take me. A cold, unshakable promise settled in my chest. I won't, I said. I swear. She slowly let go, and I walked out. But I didn't get far, because that's when I heard it. The husband's voice bellowed from the living room, louder than earlier, uglier, dripping with impatience and cheap authority. Where the hell is she? His voice cracked against the walls like a whip. Sky jumped behind the door, even though she couldn't see him. And something in me snapped. Not loud, not dramatic, just a clean, cold break inside my chest. The kind that doesn't scream, the kind that decides. My jaw tightened, my spine straightened. The fear that used to live inside Amara rose like a ghost for a moment and then died. This wasn't her story anymore. This house, these people, their noise, their violence, it wasn't gonna pass to Sky, not for another second. I stepped fully into the hallway. And the brother was already there. Of course he was. Hands in his pockets, head tilted, watching me the way a predator watches something evolve in front of it. He raised an eyebrow. That sounded like a snap. Yours? I didn't answer. He didn't need one. You had it in? Yes. You gonna start something? I'm gonna finish it. His smirk stretched slow and satisfied. I want front row seats. The living room fell silent the moment I walked in. The mother-in-law froze, one arm lifted toward a pan she'd been slamming. The sister-in-law's smirk slipped right off her face. The husband glared at me over the back of the couch, beer can in hand. There you are, he snapped. You gonna explain why that brat? Sit. He blinked, confused. What? Sit down. The mother-in-law scoffed. Who do you think? Sit down. My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The room reacted before they did. The sister-in-law stepped back without realizing it. The mother-in-law's mouth clicked shut. The husband, annoyed, half drunk, stood up to approach me. You don't talk to me like that in my... He raised his hand. Just reflex, just habit, just the motion he used on Amara 1,000 times. But this time, I caught his wrist mid-air. A sharp gasp exploded from the mother-in-law. The sister-in-law clutched the counter. The husband's eyes widened like he'd been punched. Let go! No. He tried to yank free. I didn't let him go. His face twisted from shock to fear to humiliation in seconds. You touch that child again, and you will regret it. My fingers tightened just slightly, enough to make his knees dip. He swallowed hard. Okay, just let Go! I released him. He stumbled backwards, gripping his wrist in disbelief. The mother-in-law shrieked, "What is wrong with you?" From behind me, the brother's voice cut through the room. "She found her mind," he said lazily. Finally, the mother-in-law spun toward him. "You're defending her?" He didn't even look her way. He only looked at me. "I'm not defending her," he said. "I'm witnessing her." The sister-in-law whispered, "You're not the same. You're not her." I looked at her. "No," I said, "I'm not." Silence. Real silence. Not the kind filled with danger, the kind filled with realization. Power had shifted, and everyone in the room felt it. The husband backed into the couch. The sister-in-law hid behind the kitchen island. The mother-in-law searched the room for someone to save her pride. Nobody moved, not even the brother. He leaned against the wall, arms folded, smirk subtle and dangerous. "Now this," he murmured, "is the twin worth watching." I stepped backward toward the hallway. "I'm taking Sky," I said. The mother-in-law shrieked, "Taking her where?" "Away from here." "You can't." "She can," the brother said, voice flat and final. The husband looked at him, confused and scared. "Why are you letting her?" The brother didn't answer. He didn't have to. He was letting the storm grow. I turned and walked down the hall. My footsteps were steady, cold, purposeful. When I opened the door, Sky launched into my arms. "Mommy, are they mad? Are they gonna—" "No," I whispered, lifting her. "They're not touching you again." Her tiny hands grabbed the back of my shirt. She pressed her face into my neck, trembling. I held her tighter and walked out of the room, out of the hallway, out of the house. The cool night air hit my skin like freedom. Behind me, through the doorway, I heard the brother laugh softly, low and certain. "She's not done with us." He was right. I wasn't. Not with them. Not with him. Not with any part of the past they built from Amara's pain. But tonight I won the first battle. And Sky slept safe in my arms for the first time in her young life. If you're still here at the end of this story, you didn't just watch it. You lived it with me. And I don't take that lightly. If you want more stories with this energy, more darkness, more heart, more war, a like tells me you felt this. A comment lets me hear your voice in the crowd. A sub? That means you want to be here for the next fight. And trust me, the next story, it's only getting deeper.